Hello everyone, my friends. Welcome to a new video. I'm Ufuk from the Monte Crypto Conti team. Today, together with you, we will set up the Linea Besu node and complete this installation in a very simple way, because I prepared a great script for you. By running this script, you can easily install this node. Friends, in the video, I will also be explaining this step by step. So after we set up this Besu node, what benefit will it have for us? Friends, as I already wrote next to it, it's necessary for our MetaMask RPC. What is this RPC needed for, right? As you know, the Linea Airdrop claim will start soon, and when it does, 800,000 people will try to claim this airdrop. Naturally, there will be congestion on the network. By setting up our own local RPC with Besu, we will be able to avoid all of these congestions. Then, by adding this RPC to MetaMask, we'll be able to transfer our airdrop to the exchange without being exposed to any sub-congestion, friends. This is quite important for coins that will be listed for the first time, because, as you know, price movements are very fast. So the price can go up very quickly, and it can also drop very quickly. That's why we need to claim our airdrop quickly in order to sell at the top. For this, as I said, we need to set up our local RPC. Towards the end of the video, I also have a surprise for you. Of course, you need to catch this surprise, friends. So please don't forget to watch the video from start to finish. If you like, let's not waste any time and jump right into the video to see together what we can do. First of all, we need to rent a server. The average cost of these servers is between $8 and $10. Friends, this will easily get the job done for you. Of course, you can also set it up on your own computer. To set this up, you need VCL. In other words, by installing Ubuntu on your computer, if your hardware is sufficient, you can easily set up this node and create your local RPC on your computer. Today, I will show you how to do it via Contabo. Here, I am clicking select on the $6 server you see, friends. I will already leave the site you see here ready to use in the description section. You can easily access it from there. Then we came here, friends. As you can see, it comes out to $8 per month. It comes out to 8 euros. Here, the SSD is what's important for us. Please set the SSD to 400 GB, friends. This comes to a total of 10.65 euros. After setting the SSD to 400 GB like this, we select Ubuntu 22.04. And then by clicking next, we rent our server. After renting this server, of course, as we scroll down here, it asks you to set a password. After setting this password and renting the server, you type PowerShell into your computer's search bar, friends, and you'll see a screen like this. From this screen, you can directly use SSH, root, and ADD. And after entering the IP address provided by Contabo and pressing enter, it will ask you to enter your password. And in this way, you can easily access your server. You can connect. For example, let's do it like this, friends. Let's enter a random number. Here, I set this as your IP. After you press enter, it will ask you for a password. On Contabo, it's the password you set here. Remember, we set it below. You enter the password you set here and connect to your server. A Contabo logo appears on the screen. This way, you are connected to your server. Now, we need to copy the commands. For this, I'm leaving a GitHub repository for you below. In other words, I'm sharing the guide that I copied from. By following the steps I took in that guide one by one, you can also easily complete this setup. Friends, let's move on to the next step right away. As I said, I'm already leaving this GitHub repository for you in the description, friends. We come to the installation steps section and start from the download and run the script part. First, you need to copy this part. Friends, we copy it. The copy section is right next to it. Already. After copying this, we log into the terminal where we just connected to the server. Log in. After logging in, we paste the command we just copied here. Friends, after pasting, just pressing enter will be enough for you. As I said, I've prepared a great script for you. Thanks to this script, you can start running your node with a single command. After this point, there will be a waiting period of 8-10 hours. In other words, there will be a synchronization period. After those 8-10 hours, you can add your RPC to MetaMask. You can claim the Linea Airdrop before anyone else. Now let's wait here. There are a few steps here. Let me show you those as well, friends. I really don't want to cut the video, because since you're seeing a black screen right now, you might be confused. Don't be confused at all. Over time, you'll get used to it, and I'll do my best to bring you videos like this more often. Don't worry at all. Let these parts load, friends. It usually takes about 3-4 minutes. For you, it might take a bit longer. After that, CClip asks you for some information. Once you enter this information, your node will start working successfully and begin synchronizing in the background. I'd also like to add a quick side note. In the description section, from the repo I shared with you, you can see all the steps from the part we just copied, friends. Of course, you can also follow along by watching the video. I'm aware that many of you have never encountered this black screen before. Just following what I do will be enough for the installation. Don't worry at all. Alright friends, it just asked us our first question. You can answer this question directly with why. I'm going to type why right now. Then I press enter and a screen like this will appear. It will ask us one last question, friends. Here, it will ask you to enter the domain or IP. This IP will be your server's IP. Here, I want to enter my IP directly instead of a domain. The part that appears next to it is already your IP, friends. Just copy and paste it. I do that and press enter directly. After clicking, my Besu Node installation has now started. In fact, what does it say here, friends? It says to use the sudo command to watch the logs. Copy and paste this command. When I do that, I can view the logs directly. Friends, as you can see, it started successfully. In fact, I also want to show you what these logs mean. Then I will explain everything, from how you can exit these logs to whether you can shut down your server. Don't worry at all. So, you won't have any questions left in your mind. Right now, our peers section is at 0%, friends. Since it has just started, it will synchronize gradually. This synchronization takes about 8 to 9 hours on average. So if you leave it today, your node setup will be completed by tomorrow. You will have added your RPC to MetaMask. That's how I can put it. Here, our friends will already be trying to catch up with the block. Once it reaches the current block, it will be synchronized. Let me show you the current logs of a synchronized node. When you see those logs, you can also tell that it is synchronized. By the way, you can exit directly from here like this. Guys, we press Ctrl C. And as you can see, we exit quickly. Just pressing Ctrl C is enough. If you want to watch the logs again, you can use the same command you see here. Guys, these are already available in the repo. Let me emphasize this as well. For example, it says to follow the logs. You can simply copy it from here, paste it here, press enter, and view your logs. So for example, a peer has connected, guys. These will gradually synchronize. When we press Ctrl C, it will stop. After that, you can close PowerShell whenever you want. Because it's running on Docker, your server will keep running in the background. Since it's up 24/7, it will continue to run in the background. You don't need to do anything extra. Guys, let me show you the logs that have been synchronized. So let's move on to the part where you'll add your RPC. As you can see, if logs like this start appearing on the screen, guys, know that it has reached the latest block. Your node has also been synchronized. But as you just saw, if it looks like this, it says peers and it hasn't reached the latest block yet, it's slowly moving on to new blocks. If it's like this, it hasn't been synchronized yet. Guys, this is what it looks like when it's synchronized, and this is what it looks like when it's not synchronized. I'm pressing Ctrl C to stop both of them. As I said, it will keep running in the background. In fact, I'm closing it now. After closing it, I'm going back to my repo again, guys. This is a command for checking synchronization. If you run this command directly in your terminal, and if at the bottom, if it says false, meaning if you see the red text here, know that it has been synchronized. So honestly, you don't even need to check the logs. But I still showed the current running logs, so it wouldn't be confusing for you. I also showed the logs that haven't been synchronized yet. So how are we going to add our RPC to MetaMask? This is the most important part, because we want to claim our airdrop, our Linea Airdrop, as quickly as possible. We don't want to use a public, that is, an open to everyone RPC. For this, first you need to log in to your MetaMask. Friends, let me quickly log into MetaMask and show you how to add it. We've logged into our MetaMask, friends. Then we go to the network section. Here it says network, so you can easily understand it. We clicked here, and from here we find Linea. Friends, by the way, my MetaMask is the latest version, so that's why it looks like this. If yours isn't up to date, you can update it and follow the steps I'm taking. Yours might be in a different place. You can also find it by exploring a bit. Friends, there won't be any problem. Then I click on the 3 dots next to it. From here, I click on the edit section. After clicking on the edit section, I go to the default RPC section. I click here, friends, and move on to adding the RPC URL address. And I can easily add my RPC from here. So how are we going to add this RPC? Friends, let me write it down like this actually. At the beginning, HTTP. You enter the IP address of the server where you set up the node, which was provided to you by Contobo. Then you put a colon and type 8545. Depending on your preference, you need to enter a name. After entering this name and clicking the Add URL button, look. The format is as follows, friends. For example, 184 is what Contobo gave me. Let's say the IP address is 5048D. This is the IP address they gave me. Then I set a name. Actually, you don't even have to set this. It's not really an important thing. Then, when I click Add URL, a screen like this will appear, friends. You can just write Linea mainnet here directly. Let's write it like this, in fact. I wrote Linea mainnet. Then my chain ID is 59144. After clicking the save button, I easily add my RPC. So how can I check if my RPC is working or not? For this, we go into MetaMask again. We switch to Linea, friends. After switching, we perform any swap transaction to test this RPC. In other words, is the RPC working? Are the blocks progressing correctly? We need to check these things. To do this, just making a swap will be enough. We come here. For example, I have some Ethereum. Let's swap it right away. Like this. Let's say 0.01, friends. I'm going to convert this to USDC. If it doesn't convert, if the transaction gives an error, if it fails, know that your RPC is either not yet synchronized or there is an error in the part you added. Please don't forget to double check that. Then I click the send button, and if my transaction goes through, I know that my RPC is currently working quickly and my transaction has already been confirmed. As you can see, friends, so my RPC is currently working smoothly. If this swap transaction doesn't go through or you get a connection error on the screen, has your node synchronized? You need to check this. I'll leave all the links you see here in the description section. You can access them from there. Secondly, did you enter your Linea local RPC correctly? If you check these two things, you won't have any problems. Once you know it's synchronized, that is, once you see those logs flowing, if you follow the steps I showed in the video, you won't have any problems. We've completed the Linea Besu node setup. We've added our RPC to our wallet. Now there's nothing standing in our way. So when claim day comes, you can easily make your claim. We'll also share this on our Monte Crypto Twitter account. And that way you can complete your claim on your own RPC, friends. I can guarantee that you won't experience any congestion. So, at the beginning of the video, I mentioned that I had a surprise for you. What is this surprise? Let me quickly talk about that as well. Some of you might not have the money to do this, friends. I set up an RPC on a special server for you, in other words, on a reliable server, and you can easily add and use this RPC in your MetaMask. I'll also leave this in the description section. So, how will you add this RPC? Since I'm leaving it as a direct link, it probably won't say HTTP at the beginning, friends. Again, just like in the video, if you add HTTP at the beginning, and paste the link I provided, you can successfully add this RPC to your MetaMask. This way, you'll also avoid this cost. Of course, since I don't know how much load this RPC will get, there might be minor slowdowns, though not as much as with a public RPC. I want to emphasize this as well. But as I said, I set it up on a solid server for you, my friends. Consider this my gift to you. I hope you can claim your Linea Airdrop and sell it quickly at good prices. That's my only wish. It will disappoint some, maybe not others, and make some very happy. The process will show us how it turns out. If you have any more questions, you can ask them in the comments section. I will do my best to answer them. In return for all this effort, please don't forget to like our video and subscribe to the channel. Hope to see you in our next video. Goodbye.